We got Taylor here today from Pro Post. Thanks for joining us. You're out here on John's dig site. You're putting in these teleposts. What do you actually call them?
Helical piles. Yeah.
How long has this technology been around?
About 23 years.
23 years. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And has it evolved much in the last?
It has, yes. All the galvanization is all newer technology.
Okay. All right. So these posts are going to last a heck of a long time. I know my engineer tells me when they're engineering, they're looking for a 50-year product. So can you do an addition of a house with this product?
Yes, sir, you can.
So this is going to last a long time.
Oh, yeah. Longer than you and me.
Longer than we care about.
Yeah.
Longer than the deck.
That's yes,
because,
sir.
You know, in Canada, whatever you build outside, it's going to be replaced. Never lasts. Okay, so your process is really simple. Did you have this rig made just for your company?
We did, yes. It's a
nice.
franchise design.
Nice, franchise design, proprietary knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. We were just watching you put in one of the posts, and you're able to go move around rocks?
Yep.
How long does it take for you to set up the post for the whole deck here?
5 posts like this should be about an hour and a half.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And no digging.
Yeah.
Boy, that's worth it, eh? Okay, so let's talk price then. What kind of ballpark are we looking at to have a company like yours come out and do something like this?
Ballpark for a deck this size, around $200 a post.
Okay.
And then bigger projects like additions and such, $300. Ballpark.
And that's because of the size of the pile that you're using
post
and the depth that you got to drill?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that got that out of the way. Because my options nowadays are not very much.
Concrete.
Right? Concrete.
Deck blocks.
Yeah, but the concrete now, they're not even happy with just drilling a hole.
No, you need
they want to excavate.
A big foot,
they want
footing.
I know,
everything.
the big foot.
So your cost there has already gone up.
Right.
Labor's gone up.
Okay, so you're a more affordable option than concrete.
More efficient, less mess.
Right, and you don't disturb anything. You're putting in a post.
Yep.
You've got some sort of an agreement with municipalities then? You're taking a torque reading?
Yep.
Is that the idea?
Torque spec.
Okay, and so then you're making that information available to the homeowner?
Yep.
So when the city inspector comes by, he just goes, here's my torque spec?
We have an engineer report done by our engineer.
Okay.
And then I fill out my engineer report, how much torque spec I got for each post, what size of post, what depth, what torque spec. And then I send that to the engineer, he stamps it. We send a conformity letter back to the client. They show that to the inspector.
That's brilliant.
And that's...
So if a homeowner gets a permit to build a deck and he's got drawings, he calls you up.
Yep, sends us the drawings.
You can drill the holes, build the deck, call the inspector while you're out here having your first cold drink.
Yeah.
Say, come by whenever you're ready.
Yeah, yesterday I was doing my posts and he was building the deck right behind me, beam by beam.
That is convenient. Wow, that is actually really cool.
Yeah, hard to beat.
That is tough to beat.
Yeah.
So it's a more affordable option. It's a faster process because with concrete, you have to get all of your forms inspected before you can build on it.
Yeah.
Wow. So then the plan here is Taylor's going to drill the rest of the 5 holes. You're going to fill out your engineer report. You're gone.
Yeah, I'm gone.
And then John's going to build the deck.
Yes, sir.
I just get to watch. That's exciting. Good day for me. So this is our site, guys. It's pretty simple. It's a 1.5 story? We call this a split ranch?
Story and a half, split ranch.
Story and a half, yeah? That was John. John's a member. He reached out to us and said, hey, I'm doing something really cool. Do you guys want to come by and shoot some video? I said, heck yeah, right? I don't mind standing out in the sun talking for a living. So we're over here. He removed the old deck, and we're right over top of the sump pit area. But because of your technology, that's not a problem.
Yeah, we can avoid that.
You just need a little bit of clearance,
Yeah.
right? You're going to drill a bunch of holes so that he can get all of his structure built. This is really simple. Like, no matter what you're facing, this technology is going to solve your problems. All right, Taylor, so I'm looking at your steel post back here, but that's not steel, that's galvanized?
Yeah, galvanized steel.
What are the options for using these posts? What's your height, your soil conditions? Like, what are your restrictions?
Okay, we have 7-foot piles is the most common.
Okay.
And different size blades on the bottom. Those are like your footing. You
okay.
have 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, and so on.
Whoa, you can go 12-inch?
Yeah, even bigger, 24, 32.
When would you ever need a 24-inch pile?
Depends the soil type.
Really?
Yeah. Evasive soils like clay and such, they have less bearing in the soil, which I can tell by my torque gauge.
Yeah, okay.
So in that case...
So as you're drilling, you know what kind of mesh you're getting into.
I know what kind of soil I'm touching, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it tells me how much torque I have, and then if I can't reach my torque, I either go deeper with extensions or I go bigger blade.
But regardless, you can't stop till you get the right torque.
Until I get my right torque, yeah.
Because the torque is the resistance on the blade, which says, yes, this will hold the structure that I'm building.
That's correct.
Got it. So
those are your common deck.
If you've got that kind of a problem at your end, what would a homeowner digging a hole face? Like, we have the whole dig 4 feet down and everybody's happy, but that's not necessarily true then, is it?
Well, that's when your deck starts to do this.
Right? Okay, yeah. So just because you think you're following the rules doesn't mean you're following a successful plan. So digging 4 feet down might work in some areas, might be good for the left side of your deck, but maybe not the right side of the deck.
That's right.
That's kind of freaky if you think about it. So what's your basic process? What's your approach to this situation when you get onto a site?
Basically, I'll show up and the client has perfectly marked all the locations of his piles.
Okay.
Then I come in. There's 3 in the back there, all in a straight line. So I'll do 1 on either end, get them in the right spot.
Yep.
Then I'll run a string, and then I'll put my pile
his
perfectly
markings
on the string so that it's perfectly centered and they're all in a row.
Nice.
Then I'll do the same thing out here. I'll do these 2. Then I cut them off at the right height, put a saddle on, and he's ready to go.
Okay, so you're actually going to be cutting the post when you're done?
Yeah.
Putting in a saddle so that he can then build on that?
Put a 6x6 or a 4x4 or whatever we can accommodate
according to the specs.
Yeah.
All right, so who's in charge of designing the deck?
He sends his design and he gets it drawn up. Then he sends us the drawings.
Okay.
We send our drawings to our engineer.
Yes.
He tells us what size of pile we would need, what torque spec we need.
Okay.
I come in, do my install, fill out my engineer report. We send it back to the engineer. He stamps it, and then we give the client their conformity letter.
I love that, because in my business, every time I ran into a problem, it was the city saying, you remember, when you're dealing with the city, they've got very stringent rules, right? They're not engineers. And if you don't fall in line perfectly with what their rules are, they will not pass your design, even if it makes perfectly good sense. But engineers, they got the stamp.
They love the stamp.
They just use that stamp and they say, thank you very much, city. We don't really need your assistance. We're done here. I love it. That makes life really simple. So then when you're finished, the client's finished.
Yeah, you can build as soon as I leave.
Man, oh man. So there's no calling for inspection from the city before you get permission to build.
No.
There's no waiting around. There's no mess.
That's fantastic.
I feel like I want to build a deck. All right, Taylor, so talk me through your toy here.
So here we have a Kubota tractor with our own proprietary attachment on the front.
Yeah, I noticed this is pretty cool. I mean, you got this
roll,
bar here.
Roll
is this
over cage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So basically I have about 275 degrees of view for my boom.
Yeah.
So I can go anywhere I want. I can install the pile back here. I can install it up there. I can install it over there, all from being in one spot.
So you can work in a pretty tight space.
Yeah, we have nice turf tires so that we don't damage any lawns like a machine with tracks would. But we have a backhoe on the back in case we hit any rocks, so we can just take them out of the way.
So that's interesting, because you know you did first pile already, and you had a bit of struggle there.
Yeah.
I saw you pull it back out of the ground and you beat the daylights out of it and open up the mouth.
Yeah, you can open up the blade. That's a little pro trick.
So then you got past the rock.
Yeah, I got past the rock, got my proper depth.
But if you can't get past the rock, then you can go back to digging again.
Yeah, I spin myself around, pull the rock out of the way.
Right.
Because you have to be in the exact spot you have to be. So
right,
if you got a boulder in the way,
you've got a drawing and you've got to put that piper in the right spot.
Yeah, so you got to pull that
rock out of the way. So then once the boulder's gone, how do you go back to pile again?
You backfill the hole, then you screw through.
Okay.
And as long as you get your proper torque spec, you're good to go. And in that case, you might have to go a little deeper, but we have extensions for that.
You've got extensions you can add to the pipe.
Yes, sir.
And it's all 100% galvanized extensions. And
no rust.
This is just too easy. All right. Wow, I'm loving this. I think I'm gonna join the company. All right, Taylor. So you're just using this as like a joystick.
Yeah. It's a wireless transmitter connected to the front end of the tractor. So I can stand anywhere I want and control the machine, and I can be right in, up close, checking my pipe, see if it's level, controlling it all.
You know,
from
it'd be cool if the company would actually make this look like a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, good for everyone.
All right, what is the maximum speed on this? That's what I want to know.
There's no speedometer.
No speedometer. All right, well listen, I'm gonna let you get back to work. I'm hoping you run into all kinds of trouble so that we can explain things as we go along.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting it. That's awesome. I would shake your hand and say thanks, but
not allowed.
That's the world we're living in now. Now, and if you're thinking about trying to drill your own holes with that auger you rent from Home Depot, click the card right here. You can see how difficult it can be. Clay is not your friend. Let's get at it, buddy.
Okay, so I'm gonna start over here. I'm gonna measure out 16 inches in either direction to make sure I'm perfectly centered. I'm gonna make sure my post is level in both directions, and I'm gonna drill. So here we have a rotating head here. It's chain driven. This is my torque gauge. It tells me how much torque I have in the soil. These are all hydraulic cylinders that I can scope in and out. And I can move left and right, forward, backward, up and down, and then reverse or drive. So here I'm just making sure my post is level in 2 directions. I'm in the right spot. And you can see my torque gauge going up. Now I'm gonna pack all the soil around so that it's all very solid. I'm gonna pack it all in, and then I'm gonna fill the hole, and then that's it. So here we have a 2 3/8 galvanized steel pipe. These are the most common size for decks. And the blade on the bottom, as you can see in the back, those are like your footings. So they vary in sizes from 8-inch all the way up to 36-inch. And then if you have an addition, a bigger size project, you're gonna have a 3.5-inch pipe, galvanized as well, with the different blade sizes on the bottom. So if I hit a rock on my way in, I usually feel it. Normally I can get past the smaller size rocks, but if I do happen to hit a big boulder like this one here, I can dig it out with the backhoe, and then I just see I'm hitting a rock right now. I can feel it lifting up and down. So we'll see what happens. You gotta do what you gotta do.
But this is part of the reality. I mean,
yeah.
The fact is if you were at home and you're trying to dig this hole yourself and you run into this rock, then what do? You got to go and rent a backhoe? Like,
Sometimes you hit concrete blocks.
Sure.
Old septic fields, whatever. You gotta work around it.
Man, oh man.
All right, so I'm gonna go get the backhoe and get this big rock out of the way. On there. Now we determined the finished grade is going to be roughly here, so I measured up 7 inches and I'm going to cut it off. Okay, so once your post is cut, I'm going to put my laser level on, and I'm going to mark the rest of the posts and cut them all at the exact same height. Then what you do is you slide your connector in like this, and we have a variety of different saddles. This is for a 6x6, a 4x4, or a flat bracket, and they're all adjustable. So you just slide it in like that, and you're ready to go.
Thanks for showing us how that all works, Taylor. Appreciate it. Great technology, great science, and always love a man who uses the same laser level as I use. That's very cool. All right, listen guys, DIY sometimes means make a phone call. Now you've seen the process, you understand all the technology, the reason that this is proprietary, the reason they got to call guys like you. Don't dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of. Go call somebody to make your mess for you. And then when you're done, then you can use our videos to DIY and build your deck, but make sure you got a good solid foundation. That's it for us today. We'll see you next time. Oh, and if you're interested in seeing our How to Build a Deck series, click the link over here. All right, and don't forget to ask your questions in the comment section. I'm sure the company will be more than happy to jump in and answer questions for you. We'll see you again next time.